It is the fact that all of these books, I don't even know if all of these are series that I've started and then I'm either halfway through or I'm maybe even like only 40 pages into these books. It's kind of ridiculous. What is up, bookish besties? So today we're going to talk about all the series that I'm in the middle of because it's kind of crazy, actually, in all honesty. I'm in the middle of 23 series and some of them I don't physically have. So we're just going to go through them in the order that I have them. So maybe I should have organized these books before I started recording. You know what? I'm going to organize these and I'll be right back. I am back. I have stacked these to where I can actually do this a lot easier than what I was planning to do. So let's get into all the series that I am currently reading. This first one, actually, the second book I think comes out this summer, but I could be wrong about that. It's Waves of Redemption by S.L. Klein. This was my favorite book of last year. I highly recommend this book at any and all times. It's a Christian book too, so even if you aren't a Christian, highly recommend. I cannot wait for the second book, and I was an ARC reader for this book, and I kind of hope I can be an ARC reader for the next one. So yeah. So next is Harry Potter. Listen, okay, I've had these books for a long time. I wasn't allowed to read them until I was a certain age because I grew up in a Christian family, but I was never told that I couldn't read them after I was a certain age, when I understood like witchcraft and stuff like that and how it is bad. But this is also not real witchcraft, okay? Can we just establish that? I love the movies. I have seen all the movies multiple times, but I'm on the third book, I think, and I think I should do a video reading the rest of them with you all. Even though I've already seen the movies, like, I know what's gonna happen, but yeah, I think that would be cute and fun. Next, we have City of Bones from the Immortal... Oh my gosh. Next, we have the Immortal Instrument series by Cassandra Clare. Listen, I read this book 3 times, and then I've read City of Ashes 3 times because I try to keep getting into the series and I really liked it. My brain just did not want to cooperate, but I still really want to continue the series. I have seen the movie and some people like hate on the movie, which I get it, I understand, but I enjoyed the movie for the entertainment aspect of it. I really liked who they casted for the most part because it was just fun to watch. And I watch movies for the fun. I do not try to critique, which is why some people may think I'm crazy because I actually enjoyed the Percy Jackson movies. Sue me. Next, we have Twilight by Stephenie Meyer. Listen, here's the thing. I put this on this list because I'm currently reading this book, but I'm 28 pages, but it still counts. So I have to read all of these this year. I'm planning to get finished with this series, and I've already told you all that I want to make a video of me reading this and reacting to it because I've never read or seen these movies. Next, we have the Caraval trilogy. I have read this one. Okay, I loved it. Gave it 5 stars. Chef's kiss. I really enjoyed this book and this story, and I cannot wait to finish the rest of the series. I probably will start the next book next month if I can, if I'm able. It's on my TBR. I cannot wait to make my TBR video for next month because I'm ecstatic. Next, we have the Hope Beach trilogy, which this is a Christian mystery romance. Well, it's a romance. I think it's a romance subplot, I would say, because the mystery is like the biggest things about these books, and I love that. I love that I'm not giving you like any information about any of these books, but honestly, some of these you know about, like you know Twilight, you know Caraval, and if you don't, go look up the summary on your Goodreads and see if you would like it. I'm really bad at this YouTube stuff, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna give you a little synopsis of this. So this girl Amy goes back to a cottage that her family owns after her brother's death, and essentially she doesn't think it's an accident. She thinks someone killed her brother. And then the Coast Guard of this little town that she goes back to has a secret that doesn't want to really be revealed, but as their love blossoms, stuff comes out, you know? Next, we have the Shatter Me series by Next, we have the Shatter Me series by Tahereh Mafi. I read this book my freshman year of high school, okay? And I just reread it last month, and then I finished Unravel Me for the first time, and I was hooked. Why didn't I finish these books back in high school? No idea. That was Oh my gosh. That was 8 years ago. That's ridiculous. If you don't know what the series is about, she cannot touch anyone or she kills them. That's probably all you need to know. But I need to read the rest of them. I've only finished the first 2. So we're going to finish the series this year because I need it. I need Aaron. I need Aaron so bad. Next we have The Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Did I say her name right? Jennifer Lynn Barnes. My accent sometimes goes through and it just don't like it. I have read the first 3. I have read The Naturals, All In, and Killer Instinct. I think that's, no. I said it in the wrong order. I'm so sorry. It's The Naturals, Killer Instinct, and then All In. Brains. Like Teenage Criminal Minds. How much more do you need? I just started watching Criminal Minds. Spencer Reid. You know what? We're not going to get into that right now. Next we have The Wizard. Next we have The Withered Rose trilogy by Felicity Elaine. I have read this first book. This is a Christian dark romance, mafia romance. Highly recommend this book. It is so good. I cannot wait to continue the series. I know this one's on Kindle Unlimited and I think the other ones are too, so it won't be hard for me to finish these books. But like, oh my gosh, please go read this book if you want a good Christian dark romance. It doesn't even sound like it should go together, but it does. It does. Highly recommend. Next we have the Laurel Cove romance books, and this one I have read. I read this. No, I didn't. I have not read this one. Wait, have I? My brain hurts. No. This is what happens when my brain short circuits. I have not read this one. This I bought when I was in North Carolina, which I feel so bad for the people who lost all their homes, because I think the town that I bought this from, they were one of the ones that went underwater, and it breaks my heart. Highly recommend to buy these books. I really enjoyed the first one that I read. I don't know the order. I don't even know if there is an order, but they're just cute little Christian romances, small town romances. And they just make my heart so happy. I love them. I cannot wait to get into this. This is actually on my list for the TBR of January, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but maybe I will before January ends. So yeah. Next we have, what is the trilogy name for this? Next we have the Powerless trilogy by Lauren Roberts. I've read the first book. I do not own any of the other ones, which I need to get them when I'm able. I'm trying to save money. So this is how it goes. And also, since the 3rd book in the trilogy comes out this year, I'm tempted to just wait until that book comes out, get the other ones, and just reread this and binge read the rest of it so I can get the book Fearless when it comes out. I don't know what month though. Let me know in the comments when the next book of this series comes out. But for me, this is kind of like the Hunger Games, just a new version of the Hunger Games with powers. That's what it is, and I did enjoy it. I ate it up. I think I gave it a 3.5 to 4. I don't really remember, but yeah, I did really enjoy this book, and I can't wait to continue with the rest of the series, because that ending, I was shocked. I was on the floor. I was like, whoa. Next, I also bought this at a bookstore in North Carolina. It is The Winter's Promise by Cristela Davos. I think I've talked about this book already so far in some of my videos, but what is happening with my speech? Whoa. This is part of the Mirror Visitors series, and listen, I loved this book. I gave it a 4.5, and I really want to continue with the series because this is such an interesting book. I've never read a book like this. It was very different and I loved it. But I tell you what, if Ophelia doesn't get herself together, I'm gonna cry. Next is the Silo series by Hugh Howey. Hugh Howey. This is a dystopian book that I actually had to read for my dystopian class in college, and I fell in love with it. Like, I love it, and I have the second book in my possession. I just decided to get all of the first books that I have because it was easier to carry over here instead of carrying all the books. Basically, these characters are living in a silo, and it's like a community and a city inside the silo, and there's hundreds of floors. I don't even know how people survive. That's crazy to me. There's even a TV show on Apple, I think. Apple TV, yeah, it's on the I do highly recommend this book. Now, if you want to dip your toe into dystopian, this might not be the first book that I would recommend. It's pretty deep and there's so many point of views that you're switching through constantly. So I don't know. I'd have to really think about a dystopian book that I mean, The Hunger Games. That was a really good trilogy. I'm going to be completely honest. I love The Hunger Games. One of my favorite books of all time. If you want to try and have this as your first dystopian book, by all means, try it out. You might like it. My feet are falling asleep while I'm trying to film this. This is crazy. I'm also looking at my list because some of these books on this list I don't have physical copies of, so I'm gonna have to put a picture or something somewhere. Next is the When in Rome series by Sarah Adams. I have read Practice Makes Perfect. This is one of my favorite romances I read last year. I cannot wait to read the other ones. The third one just came out this month and I need it, and I need When in Rome, but I'm gonna wait because I'm trying to save money. I might get it on my Kindle. I'm trying to save money, but I'm also trying to save space because I have so many books already. I don't have enough room for all of them. And this is also not just my house. This is my parents' house, so I'm not gonna take over their whole house more than I already have. But yeah, highly recommend this book. It is closed door. It gets a little like lusty, but other than that, it's a cute romance with a little bit of zest, but it's still closed door and pretty clean for the most part. So highly recommend. Next we have the Traitor's Circle trilogy, which I have read The Traitor's Kiss. I have the other two with me and I want to reread this one because I need to. It's crazy that it's been a year almost since I read this book and I still haven't finished the other ones. What is wrong with me? I'm gonna listen to the audiobook of this one though to get a refresher, and then I'll probably listen to the audiobook and read those at the same time because sometimes it's easier for me to pay attention. The back is what got me. The back says, an obstinate girl who will not be married, a soldier desperate to prove himself, a kingdom on the brink of war. If that sounds like fun to you, highly recommend. It's pretty clean from what I remember. It's clean. There's a lot of political stuff going on. So if you like political build, yeah, but also it is a little slow in the beginning for me, I felt like. So if you go into a book and you want it kind of fast paced at the beginning, for me it just wasn't that way. It might be different for you, but that is what I got from this book, and I think I'll still enjoy it when I read it a second time. I'm hoping. Next we have The Fourth Wing series by Rebecca Yarros. This probably has a series name, I just don't remember what it is. I have read this one and I have Iron Flame. I have not finished Iron Flame. As I'm recording this, yesterday, Onyx Storm came out and everyone was freaking out. Like, oh my gosh, I think Target sold out in like 30 minutes to an hour. That's kind of crazy. I really enjoyed this book. I love the characters. I love the world build. It is spicy though. You're gonna have to skip some chapters if you do not like spice. This may not be the book for you. I don't like spice either. I skipped the chapters and it still has a good plot even without the spice. So if you can skip chapters, I highly recommend this series. I love the dragons. I love everything about dragons. I just love dragons. And look at the sprayed edges. This is the Walmart edition that I got and I love it. Now next is a series I do not have any copies for. It's the City Between series. I don't know who wrote it. I'll put a picture and then the author's name should be on there. I started reading this book because my friend, one of my online friends, suggested that I should read this book, and I started listening to the audiobook, and listen, the audiobook gives me so much joy. I love it. I am now on the third book of the series and I think there's 12 books in this series, but I could be wrong. And it deals with like vampires, fae, magical creatures, and everything that I love in a book. It's so good. I think it's set in Australia as well, but I could be wrong about that information. I mean, I think the girl who even does the audio for it is Australian. I highly recommend the audiobooks. I think they are all on Spotify, if I'm not mistaken. That's where I had been listening to them. I don't know if they're still on there, but they were at one point. So yeah. Next we have the Kingdom on Fire trilogy. Yeah, Kingdom on Fire. Oh my gosh, I can't speak when I film. Anyway, by Jessica Cluse. And I really enjoyed the first book and I kind of want to reread the first book. so I can get a refresher. And there's 3 books in this series. I don't have the 3rd one, but hopefully once I reread the 1st one and finish this one, I'm just gonna jump into the next one, either if I can find it on Libby or the library or on my Kindle. I think that would be the best options for me, and I am very, very excited to finish this series. I'm not going to tell you a lot about it because this is the second book, and I do not want to read the synopsis, and I don't want to get up to get the other book. I'm a really bad booktuber, guys. I'm so sorry. I don't even know if you can hear me well. That's how bad of a booktuber I am, and it's fine. Next, we have the Fallen Kingdom series by Morgan Rhodes. I think that's how, yeah, Morgan Rhodes. I read this series because of BookTube years ago. I remember Jesse the Reader. He talked about this book, and then a couple other YouTubers talked about this book series, and I was like, okay, I need to read it. I've read the first 3, and I loved the 3rd one. This one, there was something that happened that kind of turned me off a little bit. I still loved this book. I think I gave it a 3.5 to 4, but something happened in this book that I was like, this is a little weird. It's a little creepy, but like once you get past that, which some people might not be able to get past that, it's a good series overall. I like how it changes point of view between different people, but if you're not used to books changing point of views at a rapid pace, this may not be the book for you at the moment. You might need to start reading books that might change from 2 different perspectives, so it's easier. I think it changes between like 3 to 6 people. I'm not fully sure about that. I don't remember how many exactly, but yeah, there's a lot of point of views going back and forth at all times. So it can get a little confusing, but I enjoy the series and I really want to finish it this year. This is fantasy. I think you can tell by the title, but it is fantasy. I'm not telling you anything. I'm just telling you the books at this point, and it's okay. It's fine. We're gonna get through it together. Next, we have The Betrayed, which is the sequel to The Betrothed by Kiera Cass. I've had this book since it came out. This is literally a first edition signed, because when it came out, I was ecstatic. I was so ready, and then my mood just kind of changed, and then I didn't want to read it at that time, and then I just never picked it up. I kind of want to reread the first book and then go into this one. I love Kiera Cass. She wrote my favorite book series of all time, the Selection series, and I love her writing. It's always clean. There's nothing bad in these, but maybe like 1 or 2 cuss words, and it's not even that bad. I highly recommend Kiera Cass books if you have not read any of her books. But yeah, and usually I don't like people on the cover, but all of Kiera Cass's books, I could care less. If there's people on the cover, I will buy it because I know it's good. And honestly, I kind of like it. I kind of like this cover, which I usually don't. What is she doing to me, you know? Then next we have the Illuminae trilogy. And this is by 2 authors, Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I think that's their names. But this book, listen, it is so cool. So the hardback, like, are you joking? That is the coolest thing I own of books. Like, I love how they designed this hardback. But I've had this book for years. I read this book probably in high school. And I love the style of this book because it's not your typical chapter read. It's like files and thoughts and texts and all kinds of stuff. And it's just very different. It's very unique. I really want to finish this series. I have been for years. I just haven't been able to get the other books, and the other books I want to get in hardback as well because they do have the same design as this one. And every time I usually go out, I see the paperbacks. And the paperbacks are beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I really want the hardbacks. And I don't usually say that anymore. I like the paperbacks of most books, but this series, I do want the hardbacks. Next is The Villains Duology by Victoria Schwab. I read Villains for a project my freshman year of high school, and that was about 8 years ago, and I loved it. Oh my gosh, I fell in love with her writing. I fell in love with the story, but I never picked up the next book because the next book came out, I don't even know how long after I read the first one, and I found out about it literally a year after it came out. I didn't even know there was another book in the series, but it had been so long since I read the first book. I just did not pick it up because I wasn't in the mood for it at the time, but now I am. I want to reread the first book because I loved it so much, and I remember the joy I had while reading that book. I'm so grateful and thankful I had a teacher who gave us multiple options to read instead of forcing us to read like one book as a class. So I really enjoyed that book, and that's probably why I enjoyed it the most, is because I wasn't forced to read it. I got to choose what I read. It was just so good. I love her writing. And last but certainly not least, we have the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. I am on Queen of Shadows right now. I have finished this one. I finished Throne of Glass, The Assassin's Blade, Crown of Midnight, and Heir of Fire. Heir of Fire, I gave a 4.5, but it took me months to get through that book. It took me like 2 months to get through it. And then Queen of Shadows, I'm about 30% through, and it's taking me months to get through that one as well. There's just a lot going on, and there's one point of view that was added, I think, in the Heir of Fire, if I'm not mistaken. And that's probably why it took me that long, that I don't really connect with. For me, I literally just want to skip this person's point of view because I have no connection to this person. I really don't. And I can't feel a connection. I've started to feel a little bit maybe, which is why I'm kind of excited to continue on with the series. But honestly, I still kind of just want to skip her points of view. I said her. I'm not spoiling anything, but like, I don't know. I can't get but I'm hoping that I'll like her more. My friend that's read the whole series, it's her favorite series of all time, really enjoys her later on. So yeah, I'm hoping I can get through the Throne of Glass series this year. But unpopular opinion, Crown of Midnight has been my favorite one so far. I think that is a very unpopular opinion. I don't see people talk about that. I loved Crown of Midnight. Oh my gosh. I gave that one a 5 stars. Immediately after I read it. I was like, this is amazing. But yeah, guys, this is all of the series I'm in the middle of. I probably missed some, if I'm gonna be completely transparent and honest with you. I have been reading for years. I've been collecting these books since I was in elementary school. I love to read. There are so many series that I want to start, but before I actually really start any new series, I kind of want to at least finish 5 series that I have, if I can. What are some of the series that you need to finish or want to finish this year, or even some series that you want to start this year? I would love to have your recommendations. I love you guys so much. Subscribe if you like this video. Hit the bell to get notified when I post a new video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this content in this video. And I will see you in the next one. Love you guys. Happy reading!